Can anyone be enlightened? Yes? No. First, there is no one to be enlightened. So the question itself is funny. Who is going to be enlightened? There is no one. You do not exist. The world does not exist as you think it is. And so there is no one to be enlightened. So the answer is no. No one can be enlightened because there is no one. This is the first and basic answer to this question. The highest possible way to answer it, and the truth. This is it. But the appearance of characters, and videos, and world allows this game to be where I play Simcha, you play someone, and then we interact by words or voices, and then in this illusion of interaction, there is another level of answering this question: can anyone be enlightened? So as we said, so the first thing is no, no one can be enlightened because there is no one. This is the truth. But if we play with the illusion and pretend for a minute that you are someone and that I am saying something, then we can say that no, not anyone can be enlightened. In the story, each character's basic right is to live in this natural state, to know its source, its origin, where it came from, and basically to be free, and this means being enlightened. So this is, it's not a privilege, it's something that, it's a birthright, and each individual is entitled to be free. Can each individual be really free? No, not because this freedom isn't looking for him. Not because he's not good enough or he has past lives that don't allow it. Just because he's not honest with himself and is not truly being himself. So being enlightened, reaching enlightenment, is perceived as an achievement of someone who reached that state and has realized its true nature, when basically there is no difference between the one who has reached this state, he did not reach anywhere, he is this state, but acknowledged the state, realized what he is, and the other characters that are still trapped in the identification and they live their lives looking for this state. Basically, it's the same. They are the same thing, which is nothing, which is this stillness, this quietness, this thing which cannot be named. It is unnameable. So the question, can anyone be enlightened, refers, and now I will refer to it as if there is someone, though there isn't. My answer was given in the first line of this video. No. No, there is no one to be enlightened. But in the game that we play, the characters, can every character in the story be enlightened? Of course, that every character can be enlightened. Every form of this expression of this thing can know itself. It's very simple because it is itself already, and it needs only the acknowledgement, the recognition of what we are. So the characters in the story that want to be enlightened are already this thing that they are looking for, and they are wrong thinking that they need to find something. They need to find this thing and become this thing. They need to become what they are. It's a paradox. They are already what they are. But the characters themselves live in the story, believe the story, believe the body, believe the emotion, believe the circumstances, the pain, suffering. They believe it all. They take it very personally. When you take something personally, you attach yourself to the illusion of the appearance of the forms. And when you attach yourself to the appearance of the forms, the phenomena, you look at them as if they were real, naturally you will not be close to your true nature, which is not the illusion, which is nothingness. So it's very hard for the character to be enlightened, because being enlightened means that it knows that the story is not real. And even if people, smart people, very, very curious people, people who want to really know, investigate these statements that not only this character makes, but many books and many people in the past, and they investigate this truth and they accept this truth and they echo this truth and they live by this truth. Still they cannot shake the basic core of being themselves, being the character which learns, which accepts the ideas. The gap is between the ideas and becoming the ideas or accepting the ideas. There is no one to accept the ideas or learn the ideas. Just be these ideas. Just represent these ideas. So not anyone can jump this final, I don't know how to describe the parting of the character from itself, the death of the character. It's so radical. Not every character can do that because her character won't allow it. She will have too much attachment to the life that she's living, to the character. The character will have like great fear of the unknown, and when faced with true possibility of change, face the unknown and be the unknown, she will take 3 steps back, because she will not be able to be brave enough to take these steps. And it is a solely inner, most intimate process. It is nothing to do with satstangs, I don't know how to pronounce this word, sastangs and retreats and teachers and methods and practices. Nothing. It has nothing to do with these external expressions of teaching and evolving. No, it is a very, very personal process. It has to be happening inside the character. Every time the character takes away its own power and gives it to some kind of process or some kind of comforting moment, that it's like a candy to a child. You're okay, you're making good progress, here's a sticker. But where are you? You are not there in the process. It's not your process. And this is why not anyone can be enlightened. Not because he doesn't have the birthright or the ability, or he's done too many bad things. He cannot be enlightened. This life, past lives, so he cannot be enlightened. Each and every character and phenomena, of course characters can be enlightened, like the cats are already enlightened, but each and every phenomena that appears to be a person can be enlightened, but it will not. It will not happen. This is the sad thing, because it's in the range of the ability of humanity. It's so simple. It is the simplest thing, but humanity will not budge from this primitive state of separation between it and what it really is. Primitive ignorance. And so much primitive programming, and it's like, I don't know to say the word, like when you're being a child, you're acting childishly, in a childish, you're acting in a childish kind of way. This is humanity now, and seekers, they are childish. I hope this is the phrase. It's acting like a child. It's perceiving things like a child. This state is a state of grown-ups. Not because children are less evolved than grown-ups. I've known children that are more mature and sensitive and grown-up than people, 80-year-old people that I knew, that are still very childish. It's a matter of self-perception and behavior. But humanity now is like a child looking at mommy or daddy to tell me what to do. Well, in fact, it's not a child, it's a grown man or woman who is perfectly capable of taking his own decisions and making choices, but he does not do that. He stays in this stage of not being responsible for his or her reality, because he was programmed to do that, raised as a child in humanity's terms, raised into society, the deep programming of society, of how we get things done. If I want something, if I want to be a doctor, I will learn how to be a doctor from doctors, and then I will get my diploma and I'll practice it and I'll be a doctor. Enlightenment is not going to university. It's not an external thing. It's an inner process. It's an inner process because it's the most intimate process of becoming what you are. And to become what you are, you have to be very close to yourself. And no one wants to do that. Somehow, I don't know, it's very strange. Why? Why wouldn't you want to be your own self? I know that there have been in every character's life difficulties and troubles, and you had to overcome things, and you built defense mechanisms, and you learned how to behave in the world. But the moment you feel strong enough to face the world as you are, what you are, and express your authentic form freely, then you become closer to what you are truly, which is formless. But to reach the formless state, you have to move through the form. And to move through the form is to move through your form, not to move through others or through imagined promises that somehow if you'll do that, something very external, you will get closer. You will not. I'm sorry. So the good news is anyone can be enlightened. The bad news is I don't see it happening. I don't see people become in this truth naturally, spontaneously, like it's meant to be, because they are not honest with themselves and they do not bother to double check their belief systems. If they have a belief system, if they have things that they believe in, they will not double check it. They will not look, maybe I made these decisions a long time ago and they were meant for something and they served their purpose, and now I'm in a different state. Who am I now? And this is the only thing that matters, because enlightenment or self-realization or this thing, I don't know how to call it, that is all the time here, this is just waiting for the separate form to be in the moment. And there are many practices of being in the moment, but it's not just being in the moment and living the moment. This is like signaling ourselves, our higher selves, this soul, nothingness. We are signaling, I am here, I am ready, I am here, this is me, by being in the moment. Being in the moment itself is not enlightenment, because enlightenment is not this moment. It's only the appearance, the outer appearance of the illusion that this is this moment, this endless, complicated moment. This is what it looks like in the expression, but it is not here. But it is like a gateway or a starting point or like a beacon that you flick the lights. How can you flick the lights to show that you are ready if you are not in the place that someone sees it, this thing cannot see your flickering light when you are trapped somewhere with, I don't know, maybe a wonderful community that you adore and you work together and it's very nice. Maybe sometimes it's not nice, maybe you try to reach the truth and people take advantage of you. It's also a thing that happens. And it's terrible, and you try to signal, I'm here, but you are somewhere else. And this does not mean you have to relinquish your practices or communities or beliefs or anything. I just offer to double check, to check again, look again, something is not working. If you are not spontaneously blissful and becoming this amazing thing which you are, and if you still have this block between you and this thing, something is clearly not being done right. Of course it's all right, this is the story, it's all pre-written by us as unity. We decided on the roles, but inside this game, if you hear these words, maybe it's in your cards. Yes, to be enlightened, to reach this state. But this state is, and you are not, and you are not. This state is here. You went somewhere else. You took the bus. I don't know where. You've gone to the market to buy some things that you think you will need. You don't need anything. You were already in the state, the final station. This is the station, you are already in it, and you cannot connect to it because you are not here. Just being here by practicing meditation or mindfulness is not enough, because then you connect to the illusion of the moment of what is, the appearance, only the appearance. But it's a great way to start, but it's not the final thing, which is knowing who you are. And knowing who you are has nothing to do with this concentrating on the moment. It has everything to do with what are you doing in this moment. If you're only connecting to the moment through meditation and knowing that you are here, it's what? It's not it has no value. And when I say there is no value, there is no meaning, there is no value, there is no good, there is no bad, I don't judge. But if you look at the moment, this precious one, eternal moment, and what you do when you connect to this moment, is meditation, or being aware that this is a tree and oh, how beautiful are the leaves, it is wasting the moment. It is not expressing the moment in its highest potential. And this thing is expressing the moment in its highest potential, and it's never sitting still. Sometimes it's sitting still, but it has to be very related to something. Maybe sitting still with your grandmother, she cannot talk and you're sitting still with her and looking at her. This is connecting to a moment. Something else is happening. Compassion is happening. Liveness is happening. An idea is expressing, idea of openness and kindness. You are sitting in still with your grandmother because she cannot talk and she will not understand you, yet you are sitting next to her. And you express love and you express all the beautiful things, and the moment is beautiful. Compare that to someone who is self-indulging in his living room, sitting and concentrating on the candle or something, and compare this stillness to this silence and being in the moment, and understand why I recommend with all my heart that if you want to exercise your birthright to be enlightened, pay attention to the moment that you create, the eternal moment that you create, and express it in a way that respects it, in a way that is truly representing this idea. Otherwise, it will not do. And this is why people are not enlightened. We are grace. It doesn't come to us. We are this grace. We only want to shine through. We only want to shine. And if you express grace in your actions, grace shines. Cannot shine by concentrating on yourself and this endless picking on who I am. Of course, it may be annoying for some people who are deeply into all traditions and all these practices. This is the only thing Simcha can say, because this was the gateway, her way. She knows that this is true. This is the only thing to connect to grace, which is us, is to be grace in our lives and express it through the character. So yes, anyone can be enlightened. Does everyone want to do this? They want to do this? Or it's much more comfortable to take all this thing and to say, no, I truly don't know how to do it. I don't trust myself that it's really the real process, and maybe I'm giving from the wrong reasons, and maybe it's not. And all these questions that you have to go through when you are doing things yourself. When you are building, imagine trying to build something from IKEA, and you are building it yourself, you have to look at everything and you have to do that. So people don't want to do that. Maybe someone will come and just bring it to me ready, but you cannot. You have to build your own boat, build your own IKEA table, I don't know, do it yourself, DIY. If you want this thing to be you have to be it. This is why anyone can be enlightened, but no one will unless he double checks everything, takes complete control over his deeds, actions, and life, complete independence, striving to express every moment to his highest potential, compassionate potential, respecting everything, acting as everything around is sacred, expressing grace, becoming grace. Small things, but I truly believe that anyone can do that. Anyone can do that. Like, it's in education. You have to know we are programmed as humanity to trust others, to not think for ourselves, and to follow these routines. But I believe that anyone is like capable of doing that, becoming what he is, and this is true freedom. He earns his freedom. You earn your freedom, you earn this state. It will not happen unless the grace itself expresses itself through the character freely. Enlightenment, self-realization, being the thing, the natural state, this blissful, endless ecstasy is your birthright. And of course, anyone has the right and the ability to do that. It's just up to you to do that. And eventually, I'm coming back to the first sentence in the video. Nothing really matters because there is no one to be enlightened. There is no one to be enlightened. So, in the story, if you want to be enlightened, DIY.